The last thing that we're going to be drawing for our cityscape is this billboard right here. And it is on the left side of our first building. And I've gone ahead and erased part of the top of this building just behind it. So that way, if the billboard is in front of it, I don't have to worry about erasing it later. Because it's on the left side of the building, we're going to be using the left vanishing point for the three main lines here of the top, the bottom of the front, and then also a little distance back so that we can see the depth of that billboard. I'm actually going to go from the bottom up while I'm drawing the lines, just so that I leave myself plenty of space on between the building and the bottom of the billboard. So I'm going to line up to my left vanishing point and just pivot my ruler to however much space I want between my building and the bottom in the back of that billboard. And I'm going to draw very lightly, almost all the way across. And then I need to, while staying on this left vanishing point, pivot the ruler up a little bit so that I have the thickness of the depth of that billboard. And draw a line, same length across there. And then I need to, again, pivot up, still on that left vanishing point, and decide how tall I want my billboard to be. And that looks about good to me. Okay, so this here between the top and middle line is going to be the front of the billboard, and this bottom line shows how deep that billboard is. Okay, after that, we need the vertical lines that show the far end and the close end of the front of that billboard. And then that back line there shows, again, how deep that billboard is. So I'm going to need to line my ruler up to either the top or bottom of my paper so that it is straight up and down. And here, this line's a little bit longer, so I actually want to line it up to this bottom corner here, so that it'll be crossing both the top and middle. And I'm only drawing between the top and the middle line. I'm gonna go ahead and erase this extra. And again, later on, I can draw that in a little bit better with my ruler. So that's the front line there. Now we need the one in the back. I'm going to line it up again to the top edge of my paper and get just between the top and the middle line. I'm going to erase this little extra here at this corner because I will not need that. The line actually here is going to be going towards my right vanishing point later on. Okay, so now we need the line about how deep it is. I want to get approximately the same width between, or the same distance between these two that I need here. And I'm going to draw a bit of a vertical line, and it doesn't need to go up as high as that last one does. Okay, now all we have left to do are these lines that go back into space to show the depth of the billboard. And those are angled towards our right vanishing point. So we're going to line up with the right vanishing point, and I'm going to line up the bottom left corner of the front of the billboard, the bottom right corner for the front of the billboard, and the upper right corner for the bottom of the billboard, or the top of the billboard. Okay, so lined up to my right vanishing point, and I'm only drawing between the middle and the bottom lines and erasing extra down there. Same thing, I'm going to line up here to this corner and my right vanishing point, draw just between those two lines, and then this top corner to the right vanishing point and just between those two lines. Okay, so now I have my billboard and it is floating in space. So we need these two little pillars going up, so that'll actually show that it's, being held in space. I'm just gonna give myself little marks at the top of the building here so that I can kind of eyeball so that they're approximately the same width and approximately even apart. Then I line my ruler to the top of the page because these need to be straight up and down. I'm going to go until they just meet with the bottom of the billboard there, because we're going to round out the top so that it looks like a pillar. I'm going to do that for all four, making sure that I line up to the top of my paper each time. Okay, now that I have those pillars, I'm just going to very carefully round out the top so that it looks like a cylinder. And so I don't have to erase that little line. I'm just going to go ahead and color mine in lightly with my pencil, and that'll just go away. No big deal there. Okay, and there is a little bit of this building left that I need to draw back in. I'm just going to do that really carefully with my pencil. There we go. Okay, and if I wanted to, I could go back and darken up these lines as well, since they're pretty light. And it's best to do that with the ruler, so that way I know it's going to be nice and straight. And that just really helps to make it look very crisp and make it so that you can definitely see the edge of that versus the other lines that I've erased. Okay, so there's our billboard. Now, for the billboard, it is one of your options for having words in perspective, and especially since we did these to the right perspective, I'm going to show how to do words on this guy with the left perspective. Because the front of our billboard is on the left side of the building, we are going to be using the left vanishing point. And I'm going to give myself 3 lines here again. I need to go to my left vanishing point. I'm going to give myself a very light line, not quite to the bottom of the billboard. And then I'm going to try and get approximately the same distance at the top. Again, still using that left vanishing point. And what I want to do now is give myself a marker of kind of where the middle is. Line up my left vanishing point to that marker line. And very lightly in the center. So again, this is going to be like when you were first learning how to write and you used the paper that had the 3 lines on the top and bottom and then the dashed one in the middle. We're going to make this the store Zoomies, an advertisement for Zoomies, because it's really good that it has verticals and lots of horizontals. So if I was just writing Zoomies, Z-U-M-I-E-Z, and you can have your I just straight up and down, or you can have it with the little top and bottom bits. You can see that it has a number of horizontals that are flat for the I, the Z's, and the E's. And then it also has quite a few verticals. The first 2 parts of the U, you've got the front and back of the M, the I there, and the E. And then you just have these 2 angled bits of the Z and the 2 angled bits of the M that don't even actually need to necessarily be in perfect perspective. Now, this is how I would typically, write it, flat, but because it's in perspective, it needs to be going up at an angle like this. So what I want to do is use these lines here as a guide. So any line that's going to be horizontal is going to go along this upward angle, and any line that is going to be vertical, I need to use my ruler to line it up so that it's perfectly straight up and down. So for the Z, I'm going to use the top and bottom line here, and then I just need to connect the front and back carefully there. And if you want, you can erase the extra as you go, or you can do that all at the end. That's up to you. Okay, for my U, I need to make sure that the lines are straight up and down. So I gave myself the 2 points there for where the front and back of that U is going to be. I line my ruler up at the top of my paper and I draw down, but not all the way because I do have the curve on the bottom of the U. And then I just kind of get this as best I can, the curve of the bottom of the U. To look pretty normal. For the M, I have the front and back that needs to be straight up and down. And I'm not really measuring out my letters, so they may get a bit squishy at the end. I'm not looking for this assignment for letters to be spaced perfectly. I am looking for them to be written in correct perspective. So that's what I'm really caring about for this. Okay, so I have the front and back there. And what I need to do is have my 2 angles meet at this middle line here. I'm gonna go ahead and try and erase a little bit of that center. But I just gave myself a dot so I know where I'm aiming. Okay. I need to then, for my eye, have the top and the bottom there. Go ahead and erase that center part. And then I kind of want to, eyeball where the center of that is. Line up my ruler to the top of my paper so I know it's nice straight up and down. Okay, there's my eye. For my E, I need the straight up and down for the back. I'm gonna get rid of some of that. Oop. Okay, I need that to be straight up and down, so I line that on up. For the flat parts here, I need to use all 3 of those lines up at an angle so that it's correct there. I'm gonna erase this middle line here because I don't need that for the Z. And again, for the Z, I need the top at that angle, and the bottom at that angle, and then I just meet them up. And there we go, zoomies, written in correct perspective. Okay, so this is how I would typically write it, just regular on a sheet of paper, but when we put it in perspective, it has to go up at an angle like that. All right, and there you go. That's it, that's our cityscape. At this point, you can put in all of your details. You would need something on each side of each building. You need to have your sidewalks, your 2 signs in perspective, doors if it's on the street line. So all I would need to do now is just add in all of those extra deets and I'm done.